pray that God took them quick. And then we saw the people jumping. We saw what we thought was debris, and we realized it was people jumping.
People are falling to their deaths, jumping from the flames in the buildings. Just want to mention, if people do anything, say prayers for the people.
Exitus acta probat. The outcome justifies the deed. The origin of the phrase itself traces back to Niccolo Machiavelli. In the book The Prince, written by Niccolo Machiavelli, he asserts that in politics, the killing of innocents and deceit is necessary in maintaining power as well as controlling the population of a state through deceitful politics. The phrase, the ends justifies the means, or the outcome justifies the deed, would come to identify Machiavelli as a teacher of evil and treachery. Subsequently, the term Machiavellian would be coined to represent evil and deceit, especially in politics and in government. Is it possible that the destruction of the Twin Towers was actually a public proclamation of triumph of a government that was established as far back as the account of Adam and Eve in the book of Genesis in the Bible? What if the bombing of the Twin Towers was actually just a message stating that an evolution of a government that started in the Garden of Eden had finally come to fruition? Okay, folks, in this section, we're just going to do a straight up talk to each other. I'm going to talk to you and I'm going to present evidence so you understand that the bombing of the Twin Towers is literally a manifestation that goes all the way back to the Garden of Eden. And once you understand this, and once you've taken hold of this, nothing that's happening in the world today will surprise you or scare you, because you'll understand it. The Bible says you'll know the truth and the truth will set you free. By the way, Jesus is the truth. Okay, so let's talk about Genesis for a second. Let's go all the way back to the beginning of the Bible. And God created Adam and Eve. They were created beings. And they were given certain orders by God that they should not partake, or neither should they touch the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. And I want to read something to you I know most of y'all have probably never heard. I'm going to read to you an account from Genesis 4. It says, "And Adam knew Hava, his wife, who had desired the angel. And she conceived and bare Cain. And she said, I have acquired a man, the angel of the Lord. And she added to bear from her husband Adam, his twin, even Abel." Okay, now let me tell you where that came from. That came from what's called the Targum. Now, the Targum predates the King James Bible. The King James Bible was written after the Targum. So if you're looking for the exact wordage or verbiage or translation of what happened in the garden, you're doing better to go look at the Targum, because the Targum is what the rabbinical teachers used to teach everybody as they sat down. They read from the Targum in Aramaic. Now, the King James Bible has evolved from that. It's not the other way around. So I want to read to you now the same thing from Genesis 4 in this King James Bible. It says, "And Adam knew Eve, his wife, and she conceived, and bare Cain, and said, I have gotten a man from the Lord, and again bare his brother Abel." Okay, so in these very few sentences, it says, once again, "And Adam knew Eve, his wife, and she conceived, and bare Cain, and said, I have gotten a man from the Lord, and she again bare his brother Abel." It doesn't say she conceived again. They were twins. Now, when you go to the Targum and you just go do a little homework, "And Adam knew Hava, his wife, who had desired the angel." Now, this is the serpent we're talking about. "And she conceived and bare Cain, And she said, I have acquired a man, the angel of the Lord. And she added to bear from her husband Adam his twin, even Abel, Habel. Okay, from the very beginning in the garden, there was this twin paradigm, Cain and Abel. Well, Cain killed his brother Abel. It's kind of interesting because the whole system that we're in is cannibalistic. It's the serpent eating its own tail right there. That's called the Ouroboros. And the serpent eating its own tail represents the system that we live in. It literally is vampiric. And when Cain killed Abel, it was a manifestation of the government that was established in the very beginning. One kills the other. And now let me explain to you. That same government exists in every human being. There's a good Jonathan and there's a bad Jonathan. There's a good you and a bad you. You are your own twin. You have this dichotomy that's going on. There's a good you and a bad you. And that's why Christ came, was to rectify the situation. Now, I want everybody to go back to Genesis. It said, now the serpent was more subtle than any beast of the field which the Lord God had made. And he said unto the woman. So the serpent, which is called the Nakash, and it's called a Nakash because of the hissing sound it makes when it speaks. It's not a snake. It's an upright humanoid fallen angel, or I shouldn't say humanoid. It's an upright fallen angel serpent being that's talking to Eve. And it makes a hissing sound when it speaks. And when it says that he said to the woman, the word for woman is adulteress. Now, we're talking in Genesis 3. So Eve hadn't even been with Adam yet. So by definition, the word adulteress is someone that's had sex outside the covenant of marriage from the partner she has. Well, her partner was Adam. God created them. They were created beings. So she conceived with the serpent, and it says in Genesis, once again, she said, the Lord said, we shall not eat from the tree, neither shall we touch it, lest we die. So a lot of people may have been taught something different, but you haven't been taught the truth. So Eve conceived with the serpent. She also conceived with Adam. There's a type of twin that's called heteropaternal superfecundation, and it's where a woman conceives twins from different fathers.
And one of nature's rarest events confirmed in New Jersey. A woman gave birth to twins, but each child has a different biological father. Before you say, what? Listen up. The evidence was discovered this week in a paternity case. The woman's from Paterson, New Jersey, and is suing one of the men for child support. DNA tests show that he was the father to one baby, but not the other, except a woman conceiving simultaneously from two different men.
So at the very beginning of humanity, Satan's government was established by the intersection of the very first two cells, which was the seed of the serpent and the seed of the woman. And that began this whole government where everybody on planet Earth would be their own worst enemy. They would have a duality of mind. They would do good, they would do bad. They would do right and wrong, light and dark, right side up and upside down. I'm wearing this shirt on purpose. When two cells intersect, they come towards each other and then they intersect. And the intersection of those two cells makes that thing that looks like a football or an all-seeing eye. It's called a Venn diagram. It's also called the all-seeing eye. Now I want you to look at the shirt I'm wearing, just briefly. The shirt I'm wearing is called Under Armour. This is the exact same thing as the intersection of those two cells. The very beginning of humanity. The intersection of the first two cells began a race of beings that were twins, Cain and Abel. What's really fascinating is when you put the words together, cannibal. The whole system is cannibalistic. One kills the other. And that's what Satan feeds off. That is his source of energy. That's where Satan gets his energy from souls, because we know by the Bible that Satan prowls around like a roaring lion seeking whom he may devour. And we're devoured from the inside. That's why they built the Twin Towers. The Twin Towers are merely a representation of the seed of the serpent and the seed of the woman. Like the story of the wheat and the weeds growing together in Matthew 13. So Satan built those towers on purpose. Satan used humans as a host body to build those two towers to represent the Garden of Eden, the twins, Cain and Abel, the seed of the serpent, the seed of the woman, the wheat and the weeds. It's all the same. So those towers were purposely built in order to be destroyed, in order to make a public proclamation at the end of the world that Satan has achieved the new host body, because the two were destroyed and in their place a new tower was built. And that tower that was built is called the One World Freedom Tower. And at the very top of that tower, Barack Obama wrote his name, and he wrote, "We remember, we rebuild, we come back stronger." He used the word we, and then the word we, and then the word we on purpose to show that Satan's government has rebuilt. WWW is 666. So now I've explained to you biblically where this new government comes from. The government that runs the earth. By the way, the word for govern means to rule. And that's what the word govern means. If you have the seed of the serpent and the seed of the woman, the serpent produces 23 chromosomes and so does the woman. Okay, whenever sexual intercourse occurs, you have an egg and you have a sperm. Now, each one produces, for the new host body, 23 chromosomes. That's just basic biology. So you have 23 and 23, and that makes 46, and that's what the new child has. The new child has 46 chromosomes. That completes the chromosomes for the new host body. Let's call the host body the temple, because the Bible says, "Do you not know you are the temple of God, and the Spirit of God dwelleth in you?" That's after you get saved. But our bodies are a temple. Now, I want you to consider this, that in 9/11, after the destruction of the Twin Towers, George Bush read Psalm 23. Okay, well, there were Twin Towers that were destroyed. So 23 and 23, 23 and 23, that represents the two that would be donating the chromosomes, the paternal and maternal parent. Now, once those towers were destroyed, Barack Hussein Obama, lightning from heaven, had to throw that in, he read Psalm 46.
"Be still and know that I am God. I will be exalted among the nations, will be exalted in the earth."
In Psalm 46, he read the words, "Be still and know that I am God." Well, a lot of people will say, no, he was just reading Psalm 46. No, he wasn't. It was Satan using a host body, proclaiming himself to be God, having rebuilt his host body, which is a new temple for Satan to occupy and to literally run, because it is the new formation, it is the new temple for Satan to occupy, and that's what it represents. Also, the word woman, they could have picked a lot of other words for the word woman other than one that means adulteress. Also, for the word to touch, to lay with, as laying with a woman. So in all those translations of those words straight out of the King James Bible, we have a very obvious scenario that's been painted, that there was a fornication that occurred in the garden. Now, when you go to the Targum, which predates this, the Targum was the way the rabbinical teachers would sit people around and they would teach them the Pentateuch, the first 5 books of the Bible. And so we read to you that out of that also, that Hava had desired the angel, and Hava had desired the angel, and she bare a son, Cain, and then she also produced his twin, even Abel, from Adam. And so now we have a picture in the Garden of Eden of twins. So the very first children that were born were twins. We wanted you to see the reality that there was massive death that occurred. We wanted you to see the violence of it. We wanted you to see the horror of that particular scene. I wanted to make it real for you because those were real people that died. Now, here's what I want to point out. Those words, exitus acta probat, those words are written on that arch. It's called the Washington Arch. Those words mean the outcome justifies the deed. Well, you were watching people die. I mean, you were watching the Twin Towers go down. There's no outcome that I could really think of that could justify that as being the deed. And I'm going to tie the Twin Towers to the words on that arch. And you might say, well, how are you going to do that? Sit tight. To understand the significance of the Twin Towers and the destruction of the Twin Towers on that particular date that was 9/11, you must understand your biblical history. Okay, I told you we are the temple of God. Our bodies are a temple, and the Spirit of God dwells in you once you get born again. Until that, you have a different spirit running you. That's why the Bible says you must be born again. You must be born of the Spirit. Now, in order to understand this, you must understand that there was a temple in Jerusalem where everybody went for prayer, and that was destroyed on 9/11. It was the 9th of Av. And so if you look at the Jewish calendar, it was the 9th day of the 11th month. It's called Av on the civil calendar. So on 9/11, back in history, Nebuchadnezzar destroyed the first temple in Jerusalem on the 9th of Av. The temple was rebuilt, and after the temple was rebuilt, later it was destroyed by Titus, the emperor, and he destroyed it, oddly enough, on the exact same day, on the 9th of Av. So you gotta be kidding me, right? Well, that's what Jesus was talking about in Matthew 24. When his disciples came and said, hey, look at all these beautiful buildings. Jesus said to his disciples, verily I say unto you, there shall not be one stone left upon another that shall not be thrown down. And Jesus was talking about the coming destruction of the temple. He also was telling us about the destruction of our bodies as a temple when he was speaking to the Jews. Jesus said to the Jews, destroy this temple, and in 3 days I will raise it up. And the Jews said, it took 46 years to build the temple. 46, the number of completed chromosomes. They said, it took 46 years to build the temple. How can you rebuild it in 3 days? And Jesus said, well, you've heard what I said, but you haven't understood its meaning. Because we know that Jesus rose from the dead after 3 days. He had his temple, which is his body, rebuilt. I want to throw in a scripture real quick. The Bible says we all anxiously await the redemption of our bodies. Okay, so now we have the first temple that was destroyed on the 9th of Av, 9/11. The second temple destroyed by Titus on the 9th of Av. Don't forget the name Titus. It's coming back in just a little bit. And then, oddly enough, we have the Twin Towers destroyed on 9/11. Do you think that's a little coincidental? Okay, where did the number 9/11 come from as an emergency number? Well, it originated actually in England with the number 999. Well, if you turn 999 upside down, that's 666. And if you're using a rotary phone like the old days where you had to dial the number, 9's way down here. So if you gotta go all the way back and you're in a hurry, that doesn't make a lot of sense, does it? But the number was for 9/11 was originated in 1967 through the Federal Communications Bureau of the government, in league with AT&T, which it was owned by the Rockefellers. Okay, so the Rockefellers had a hand in the phone company that came up with the number 911, kind of like 9/11. It happens to be on every police car and every emergency vehicle, 911. Okay, well, let's look at some other stuff. In 1967, David Rockefeller was on the cover of Newsweek magazine. He has his watch prominently displayed in the photograph. The number on his watch is 911. That's a little odd. What's really odd is the back of that magazine. There's two people that are wearing shirts, I think, for a type of cigarette. They have these two long red, looks like red twin towers on their shirts. And we're going to show you that right now, and just to give you a little bit of data, that's where the number from 9/11 came from. Rockefellers were instrumental in it. They were the owners of the company at the time, and it came out in actually 1968, shortly after David Rockefeller posed on the cover of the magazine. All right, here we go. This is where we tie it all together. Okay, we've shown you, all from the Garden of Eden, and the government that was established back then was a twin paradigm within each human being. I am my own worst enemy. I have my own evil twin. You have your own evil twin, a good one and a bad one. That's the government. Now, it's time to tie this thing all together. We've already given you the facts about the Rockefellers. We're going to give you a few more right now that's going to tie this whole thing completely together. I don't know if y'all know this, but the Rockefellers are one of the owners of the Federal Reserve. They print the fiat currency, so they make the bills. That's going to be very significant here in just a minute. Before we continue with that, you need to know the definition of the word apotheosis. The word apotheosis means man becoming a god. That's the definition of the word. Deification from man to God. That's exactly what the serpent told Eve. He said, your eyes will be opened and you will be as gods. That's why in Genesis 3:22, it says, the Lord God said, man has become as one of us. Right there, that is apotheosis. Man has become as one of us, gods, knowing good and evil. And then it says, and unless he reach out his hand and take from the tree of life and live forever. So the only way to get back is to take from the tree of life, which is Christ. Now, I want to throw this in right now. There's a club called the Skull and Bones Club, and the number is 322. Okay, we have lots of politicians and world leaders that have been members of that club. It is Genesis 3:22. They know. They know the truth. They are operatives of the devil. They are literally demonic agents that run governments, run businesses, run society, like the boys club. So anyway, the Skull and Bones Club, they're mocking us because the serpent said, you will not die. The serpent lied. We died. You're going to see some commercials after this section where you're just going to go. You're not even going to believe what you're going to see. So, apotheosis means man becoming God. Okay, the Rockefellers make the fiat currency, the United States fiat currency, the bills. Now, there's three arches we need to talk about to commemorate Titus's victory over the Jews and to commemorate the destruction of the temple. We're going to show it to you. Now, in that archway, under the soffit, the part underneath, there's an image of Titus, and it's called the Apotheosis of Titus on the Arch of Titus. It's Arch of Triumph. Man becoming a god. Okay, in downtown Manhattan, we have another arch. It's called the Arch of Washington. Well, here's a very fascinating common denominator. If you walk into the Capitol building and you look up at the rotunda, you'll see a giant fresco that's painted on the ceiling. I think it's 180 feet above the ground. I believe so, which would be 666, by the way. And on that fresco, it shows George Washington, and he's looking down, and he's amongst the clouds, and it's called the Apotheosis of Washington, which means man becoming a god, Washington becoming a god. If you look closely, if you're looking at Washington, you'll see a banner that says E pluribus unum, many out of one, and it's upside down, the banner is. That's very significant because that's where we all came from. Man becoming God. Okay, well, it used to be that when you look through the Arch of Washington in Manhattan, all you would see is sky. But then David and Nelson Rockefeller, they condemned all these businesses. They served eminent domain, I believe in over 150 businesses, and they forced all these business owners to move out. And guess what they built there? They built the Twin Towers in this location where they served eminent domain. Well, if you're looking through the Arch of Washington, the Twin Towers were built dead center of the arch. Let's see, it's right there in black and white. The Arch of Washington was modeled after the Arch of Titus, which means apotheosis. So when you're looking through that arch and you realize that the Rockefellers built the Twin Towers dead center of that arch so you would see them, and then the Twin Towers were destroyed and all those people were sacrificed to the devil, just like they used to sacrifice them when they walked through the Arch of Baal into the Temple of Baal, and they would sacrifice people to the devil. It's the exact same thing. And to prove it, look at the US currency. All you have to do is look at the new $20 bill that was made in 1996. All you have to do is fold it into a pentagram and turn it upside down, and you will see the burning of the Twin Towers. And it represents DNA. The two DNA strips are identical to the Twin Towers. And then you look at the Twin Towers and they're burning, and that's the destruction of the temple.
Alongside each other, the wheat and the weeds, or the sheep and the goats, or the seed of the serpent and the seed of the woman. They're all analogous. And they all mean the same thing. And so they were growing together, and then they were blown up, and it was by design, because the prince of this world is Satan, and he's been working towards his one world rule on earth, of Satan on earth. He doesn't want God in schools, God in church. He doesn't want God anywhere. He wants to be the God of this world, and that's okay. The God Almighty is going to allow that for a while, but God Almighty is still in control, Yahweh. They bombed the Twin Towers. The bombings were actually printed on U.S. currency. Y'all know the whole paradigm. Those who try and hide their plans, they turn everything upside down. Who is they? They are fallen angels. Fallen angels are also aliens, demonic beings. That's who they are. That's been established. It's been beaten like a dead horse. So we have those established facts. So now, it took, instead of, a year and a half to build a One World Freedom Center, what was built where the Twin Towers were was a combination called the One World Freedom Center. The One World Freedom Center is a representation of a new world order. The two have become one.
There's an arch that was built, and it's called the Arch of Triumph, just like the Arch of Baal. It's called the Arch of Triumph, and it's to commemorate Titus's victory over the Jews and to commemorate the destruction of the temple. We're going to show it to you. Now, in that archway, under the soffit, the part underneath, there's an image of Titus, and it's called the Apotheosis of Titus on the Arch of Titus. It's Arch of Triumph. Man becoming a god. Okay, in downtown Manhattan, we have another arch. It's called the Arch of Washington. Well, here's a very fascinating common denominator. If you walk into the Capitol building and you look up at the rotunda, you'll see a giant fresco that's painted on the ceiling. I think it's 180 feet above the ground. I believe so, which would be 666, by the way. And on that fresco, it shows George Washington, and he's looking down, and he's amongst the clouds, and it's called the Apotheosis of Washington, which means man becoming a god, Washington becoming a god. If you look closely, if you're looking at Washington, you'll see a banner that says E pluribus unum, many out of one, and it's upside down, the banner is. That's very significant because that's where we all came from. We have the Arch of Baal. We have the Arch of Titus. They're all called the Arch of Triumph, the Arch of Titus. And then we have the Arch of Washington. And Washington has an apotheosis associated with his name in the rotunda. So the arch that you're looking at in downtown Manhattan is an arch that represents apotheosis, man becoming God. Okay, well, it used to be that when you look through the Arch of Washington in Manhattan, all you would see is sky. But then David and Nelson Rockefeller, they condemned all these businesses. They served eminent domain, I believe in over 150 businesses, and they forced all these business owners to move out. And guess what they built there? They built the Twin Towers in this location where they served eminent domain. Well, if you're looking through the Arch of Washington, the Twin Towers were built dead center of the arch. Let's see, it's right there in black and white. The Arch of Washington was modeled after the Arch of Titus, which means apotheosis. So when you're looking through that arch and you realize that the Rockefellers built the Twin Towers dead center of that arch so you would see them, and then the Twin Towers were destroyed and all those people were sacrificed to the devil, just like they used to sacrifice them when they walked through the Arch of Baal into the Temple of Baal, and they would sacrifice people to the devil. It's the exact same thing. And to prove it, look at the US currency. All you have to do is look at the new $20 bill that was made in 1996. All you have to do is fold it into a pentagram and turn it upside down, and you will see the burning of the Twin Towers. And it represents DNA. The two DNA strips are identical to the Twin Towers. And then you look at the Twin Towers and they're burning, and that's the destruction of the temple, just like in the time of Titus. Okay, I told y'all, or I showed y'all in the previous part of this video, that in the Garden of Eden, the woman, the adulteress, was beguiled, seduced by the serpent, the Nakash. And the word to touch means to euphemistically lay with, like to lay with a woman, okay, which is a sexual connotation. Also showed you the Targum. And Hava, Eve, desired the angel, and she conceived, and she bare Cain, and she added even his twin from Adam, Abel, H-A-B-E-L. Okay, so there were twins. But let's look at the fact that Eve had to fornicate with the serpent. Okay, I'm going to show you a commercial right here that's on, this is a commercial. And I want to show you how the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, that, it's literally everybody walking around on the planet, because every human being is from that tree now, the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. They manifest what they are. And here's a commercial. There's a being coming down from heaven right there. Here's a naked woman. They were naked in the garden until their eyes were open. And that's once they partook, they died spiritually. Here we go. There's the ground, and the ground looks like it's parched. But what you're really looking at is like serpent skin. And by the way, human skin, if you look at it in a close-up, is identical. I'll prove it. This represents serpent skin, and this is actual human skin. Let's go ahead and enlarge it. There you go. Okay, there you go. So here's the enlarged human skin. These are the cobblestones at St. Peter's Basilica. And let me show you what serpent skin looks like right there. And here is human skin. Okay, let's go back to the Versace commercial. Here we go. So there is your serpent skin. And out of the serpent skin, okay, these are penises. That's a penis, plain and simple, in the form of a crystal coming out of the serpent skin. I mean, there's no other way around this. That's what that is. So now a naked woman, you have serpent skin and a penis, and now you have images of what looks like stars falling from heaven. Now I want to show you something. There's going to be a being, an image of a person or a being. Watch. Right here. Here's the head. Here's the shoulders, arms. And he's coming through a door and going in. And it looks like he goes into Eve. Watch. See? See, there's his body right there moving. Came through a door. And now, where does he go? He went into Eve. Right there. Okay, watch closely. Now, her skin is starting to change. Listen. It's turning into a prison. Now she breathes out, and watch this eye right here. Keep an eye on that. One eye is in the darkness, and this is going to be the all-seeing eye. Here it comes. It turns into a serpent's eye, right there. One eye in darkness, one eye that's a serpent eye, and she just exhaled and she died. The serpent said, "You will not surely die." You're looking at a commercial for Versace perfume, where a penis came out of serpent skin. She fornicated with it, and then her body became her prison. Her skin changed, and now watch. And her essence was stolen right there. Watch this. Let me move this. Watch this. Her essence was stolen. Watch. Right there. Her light was stolen. Watch what happens to her light. It's caught in this prison. Here she is. She's caught in here. What's on top? A vesica piscis. And this is her prison now. Now I'm going to escape. I'm going to go over here and I'm going to show you still images. So, here she is caught inside the bottle. Right here. There is her essence. She has been caught. Her soul has been captured. Look what's on top. Look what the cork is for this bottle. Now, don't forget, she's looking up like she's fallen. Now, let me show you something. Here is the vesica piscis. Remember, I showed you, let me show you my shirt. You see my shirt? Under Armour. Get it? There's one upside down and one right side up. You see it? It's the exact same thing as what you're looking at. Right here. And where the two intersect, it makes the eye of the serpent. Let's go back to that very quickly. Yeah, she's caught. She breathes out. Her essence has been caught, and her eye turns to the serpent. That is just flat out busted. Okay, so you're looking at... Now I want to show you what the word spirit means. Okay, the word spirit right here, Wikipedia, look it up. The English word spirit is from Latin spiritus, breath. The English word spirit comes from the Latin word spiritus, meaning breath. You just watched her breath get taken. Her spirit or her soul right there was taken. Spirit means breath. So how in the world could we possibly watch a commercial that's about perfume that's got a being coming down from heaven and then serpent skin, she touches it, and out of the serpent skin comes a penis, she fornicates with it, adulteress. Those look like stars falling from heaven. And then now that she's engaged, this new dark spirit comes through this door into her, there it is. And now her body turns into a prison. There it is. And then her spirit, her breath is taken. There it goes. Her eye turns to a serpent, one eye in the darkness, one eye is the serpent, and there's the new race of beings that is taken over the host body. And there she is trapped inside. Here's her eye, here's her mouth, and she's trapped inside with the vesica piscis right on top. There it is. That's it. That's busted. That is as busted gets. So anyway, that's just one example. By the way, this is fascinating stuff once you look into this, but that is the breakdown of this commercial. Here's a quick image of a girl with, I just typed in female with serpent eyes, and if we go to this image of her in the commercial right there, that is not normal. There you go. There you go. There you go. Okay. That's a Versace commercial. How did they get the Garden of Eden so right? Pretty amazing, right? I told you there's another race of beings here. And they've taken over the human body as a host body. There's no longer twins. They've been destroyed. There's no longer another consciousness fighting to do the right thing. They've given themselves over to the new race of beings. So the human body has become the temple of the devil. He's taken it. The serpent has taken it. That's why Obama built the One World Freedom Tower. And that's why he wrote, "We remember, we rebuild, we come back stronger" on the top. 666. They've got their new temple. Okay, here we go. We're going to do another breakdown. This is going at the end of this long video that Clay and I have been working on. Here we go. We're going to do another breakdown. This is going at the end of this long video that Clay and I have been working on. Now, we're going to go over the Versace commercial very quickly. Okay, here's a being that came down. Okay, I want you to look at the body position. I'll switch to the commercial itself. There, and there's an image. See with the arms spread out. I want you to recognize that. Okay, so now we have this dry ground, and it's because it represents serpent flesh as well as the dry ground. If you go look at the plaque at the Hoover Dam, it says they died so the desert could bloom, and it shows a guy with his arms out. It's really an image of Baphomet. Anyway, so here we go. So here's the hands on the dry ground. It represents serpent skin. Here's the penis that comes out. She fornicates. She's naked. She fornicates with it. It takes her spirit right here, and then her skin changes into her own prison, and then she's caught in this bottle, and the lid on the bottle is a vesica piscis. Now I want to show you a couple images before we start on this next commercial. Here is a closed eye. Here is that same eye opening up. Let's look at very quickly Genesis. The serpent said to the woman, "You shall not die." That was a complete and utter lie. "For God know that the day you eat thereof, then your eyes shall be opened, and you shall be as gods." That was true. Knowing good and evil. So the woman saw that the tree was good for food, and that it was pleasant to the eyes, and a tree to be desired, to make one wise, and she took the fruit thereof and did eat. And she gave also to her husband with her. So Eve gave it to Adam, okay, because she had already fallen. So the serpent was after Eve first. Okay, now here we go. Let's go to these images very quickly. I'm going to break this down. Here's a closed eye. Here's an eye opening. Here's a representation of our enemy, the all-seeing eye. It's on the back of the dollar bill. That's why the light is coming through her bent knee and makes like the capstone, the top of the pyramid. Now, right here, she's holding a bottle with her fingers, and she's making the 666. Then here she turns the bottle upside down, which is everything. That's everything. Satan's kingdom is upside down and contrary to God's. And here she is making the offer like the fruit, and she throws it, and then the guy, which represents Adam, touches it, and then he thinks he's going to get what looks really good. And then when he's walking towards her, the girl that's white turns to black. And let me show you what's on her chest. And we're going to run through this commercial. A dragon. Here's a dragon's eye. Here's like its ear going back. Okay, this is the top of the dragon's head coming down to the open mouth. Right here, the teeth. And it's faded on. So the white turns to black. So light turns to darkness. And the dragon now is on this other girl. And he thought he was getting the girl in white, the shining serpent. And it ends up being something totally not what he thought he was going to get. It was called a snare, a trap. And then he receives the knockout punch after he's like, what happened? I'm going to show you this very quickly. Here is an eye right here. This is the girl's eye right here. And here's the boxing glove hitting him square in the face because he just got knocked out cold by the enemy. He was tricked. He was tricked. And here he is trapped now, and he's looking up because now he's fallen from grace. And then here he is caught in the trap. Let me show you what that trap is. That trap is this, the vesica piscis. It's the first cells that intersected. It is the fornication of the serpent with Eve, and then Adam himself fornicated. It's interesting because, you know, a lot of people think of the serpent, the nakash. It makes a hissing sound from the way it speaks. Do y'all ever think that a tree is like a family tree? And in a family tree, there's more than one individual. Okay, so watch this. Here we go. Let's break it down. Okay, so then he's trapped. And the vesica piscis, here he is, the intersection of the first two cells, and I'll prove it. There's the exact same thing, and it makes the all-seeing eye. When you rotate it and you put one on top of the other, you have this image right here, and that makes the eye of the serpent. That is the all-seeing eye. You're looking right at it. Now I'm going to show you a cocoa commercial. That is the Garden of Eden. Okay, so let's all watch. Let me move this over just a little bit. Let me enlarge it. Okay, remember, your eyes will be open and you will be as gods. By the way, the music is from a group called the Zombies. Get it? Because everyone's become a zombie, because we are just like slaves to this other race, which is these guys. Here you go. The eye opens. Now, I want you to, now remember that image right there? That is identical to the image from Versace, from the commercial. Right? Okay, so here's the Versace. There's the Versace image. See it? Okay, I'm going to enlarge it. You see right here? Okay. See the woman with their arms stretched out? See right there? Yep. Now let's go to the Cocoa commercial. Wow. Identical. Okay, let's go back and do it again. So the eye's going to open up. Let me see. Here we go. The way she lied. Satan is a liar. Here we go. I'm sorry, it's glitchy. Just give it a second. There's the eye opening. The way she lied. Okay, here's the bait. So here's the bait. There's the triangle representing the capstone, all-seeing eye, Satan, the pyramid, your enemy. Now she goes behind this curtain. Now watch, it's a shadow. There's the 666, and then she turns it upside down, which is everything. Everything. And then she puts it on herself. There it is. Now she attaches. Now that 666, that she's holding it like it's the fruit. She puts it on her. Now she's coming down from these two stairs, like coming from above. There's the offer. She holds it out just like the fruit. And then she makes the offer. She tempts him. He goes and he touches the fruit. Now he thinks, now where'd she go? All of a sudden she's down here. Now there she is. And he's like, oh, that's what I'm after. And then, oh my gosh, look. Light turns to darkness. There's a dragon on the girl. I missed the one frame that it's in, but I showed it to you earlier. And then the dragon's in her. And she's gone. Now he's like, what happened? I thought I was going to get something great. Here it comes. Here comes a knockout punch. Boom. Knocked out. Garden of Eden. Oh, did you hear the cell door slam shut? I did. Listen to the cell door slam shut. Let's see. Hopefully I'll catch it. That was it. The cell door slammed shut. That was a cell door slamming. And look where he is. Oh my gosh. The vesica piscis, the intersection of the two. The seed of the serpent and the seed of the woman. That's why there's a dragon on that girl. The serpent, the dragon. I mean, come on, guys. This is what I call a no-brainer. It doesn't require deep intellectual thought. We're just looking at the details of a commercial that is not selling perfume. Look where he is. He's trapped in the all-seeing eye. That's all there is to it. There's not even a question. There it is. There's the vesica piscis. Here it is, right there. I told you, the intersection of the first two cells. Seed of the serpent, seed of the woman. And he's trapped. And Eve, and now let's look at the Bible. Your eyes shall be opened, and you shall be as gods. Your eyes shall be opened. Right here. Closed eye, opened eye. Pyramid, there's the bait. 666 on her, he goes for the bait. And when he touches it, he thinks what he's going to get is good, and it's a snare, and he's caught in the Vesica Pisces. He's caught in the intersection of the two. The seed of the serpent, seed of the woman. And then on the girl, there's a black dragon. There it is. I mean, this is not arguable. I mean, these are just images. These are just, there it is. Okay. So that's it. That's just plain and simple, easy to see. Okay, so what does this have in common with a Versace commercial? They're both about the Garden of Eden. Another one comes down from heaven. Okay? And then, yeah, she sits on the dry, parched land that's also serpent skin. And then the penis comes out. And then she fornicates with the penis, with the serpent. And then her body. Watch. And then another spirit enters her right there. That other spirit. There it is. There's his body, shoulders, shoulder. Here's his arm going this way. It enters into her, see? And she's trapped. Now her body turns to her prison. Prison. She exhales. Her eye turns to the eye of a serpent. By the way, thank the subscribers in the previous video that caught that, the eye, the serpent eye. Sorry I didn't mention it in the last video. And then she's caught inside. There she is, caught inside with the Vesica Pisces. Okay, do you see? Do you see what's going on here? Let's see. Let me put it right next. Do you see what's going on? Vesica Pisces bottling up her prison. Vesica Pisces, prison. Right side up, upside down. Get it? That is the prison. This is the prison. This is what happened. Okay, that's 2 commercials. We're going to do several more. Okay, we're going to do several more and add to it. Remember, they are identical. Identical. They're not selling perfume, folks. They're showing, this is the tree of the knowledge of good and evil manifesting in commercials. You can tell every tree by its fruit. You're looking at it. This is it. The manifestation of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. You can tell every tree by its fruit. What fruit is this producing? It's producing commercials that show the Garden of Eden, the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. That's it. Okay. So would you like to do it again? The Garden of Eden again in another commercial? That would be impossible, wouldn't it? Well, let's have a little look at the Ian Bud Light commercial from the 2014 Super Bowl. And let's just do it again. Okay, so here we go. Let me see if I can get this screen adjusted. Okay, so here we go. This is the Ian Bud Light commercial. Now watch. Here comes the girl into the scene. Now everything's being orchestrated. Now everything's being orchestrated. Okay, right there. I want to pause it. They shake hands. Look, right in front of the light. She says her name is Kelly. He says his name is Ian. Let's look at the word Ian. The word Ian, it's also a suffix. It added to words like antediluvian and Christian, but the name Ian right here means gift from God. So remember, every commercial I do for you, I'm going to show you the devil is in the details. I'm going to prove it over and over and over and over and over and over and over again. This is a gift, guys. This is a gift. So just do it yourselves. I don't know what to say, except do this yourselves. Question every single thing you see. Okay, so the guy's name is Ian. Okay, so she said, "Hi, my name's Kelly." He said, "My name's Ian." Let's see what Kelly means. Kelly means warrior or fighter. Okay, it's a descendant of Kleck. Kleck, right here, it means war and strife and church, Satan's church. So their names are totally significant. I mean, what are the odds that Kelly means female warrior? Watch, I'll show you. Kelly means female warrior, right there. Warrior woman, female warrior. That's what it means. Ian means gift from God. So here we go. We had Kelly come up and say, "Hey, my name's Kelly." Look, they shook hands right in front of she's going to make an offer to him. Watch. So she just says, "If I give this to you, are you up for whatever happens next?" Just like the Coco Mademoiselle commercial. She made an offer, he touched it. Now here we go.
3 seconds ago, we gave Ian Rappaport a Bud Light and a choice. Ian is not an actor. He has no idea what's going to happen next. I think I can do that.
So now he took it. Now a limo shows up. It's red. He gets in for a bachelorette party. What's a bachelorette party? Guys go to bachelorette parties and fornicate a lot of times before they get married. I mean, like right before they get married. Does that sound like the Garden of Eden? Yes, it does. And the adulteress said to the serpent,
What's your name?
Now he's taken, by the way, he's got the Bud Light in his hand. So he took the bait. A bachelorette party, he just said it. So they're just putting him on in a new, now they're putting him in new clothes. They're changing his look. Look, pay attention to the coat and the handkerchief he had. Now he's just... Okay, so now he's going into a building in an elevator with this girl, and Don Cheadle gets in the elevator with a llama. Okay, now look at how they're dressed. They're dressed identically. Now I want to show you what this means. And what does a white llama mean? Now watch this. I'll go back here and I'll show you. I just typed in meaning of a white llama. In the Incan mythology story, the Incas, white llamas were used for animal sacrifices, and young children were also. So the white llama represents a sacrifice, a pure sacrifice. Here we go, right here. Okay, the chief method of divination, which is occultic, which is satanic, through the use of oracles, which involve frequent sacrifices to the gods. Inti, for example, receives sacrifices of corn every day, besides offering food and drinks to gods. Incans also made animal and human sacrifices. Here it is. White llamas were used for animal sacrifices, and young children were particularly prized as human sacrifices. That's what Ian is. That's what Ian is. Here it comes. Remember, gift from God. Now look how they're dressed. Now watch. Now look, they're dressed like twins, like identical twins. They have the same coat and the same blue kerchief, dark and light. You got dark and light in the same thing. What have I been telling you? Twins, Cain and Abel, same exact thing. Now look, are we wearing the same coat? Same kerchief, same coat. One dark, one light. Twins. Now watch. Okay, the door opens. Everything's being controlled. Oh, she gets in a twin.
Yes.
So her twin gets in. He's twins with the black. Okay, yeah, I want you to see this next scene right here. This is important. Right here. Okay, look at the red. Look at the red. He's in between two twins. Well, let me move this a little bit. There we go. He's in between these two twins. Okay, this is very significant. This is like the cross of Christ because Jesus was our sacrifice in between Jesmus and Dismas. Okay, the twin paradigm. Watch. Everyone here is a twin, he said? Wow. Every single person in the party is a twin. I told you. Twin towers, Cain and Abel, wheat and weeds, sheep and goat, seed of the serpent, seed of the woman. This is a Bud Light commercial, folks. Give me a break. Okay, what's the big W or the big M for? Turn it upside down. Okay, now he walks into this room and Arnold Schwarzenegger says, prepare to be crushed. In tiny tennis. Now watch. He's going to totally mock Ian. Watch. Okay, what he's doing is he's making fun of him and he's, I'm sorry, that's the wrong set of images. He's having him put his arms up like that because that is the plaque that is the same thing that is on the plaque at the Hoover Dam. I'm going to show it to you right here. Okay, the plaque at the Hoover Dam. The guy's got his arms up. He's got two different grains, wheat and weeds, and it makes the face of Baphomet. There the eyes are. It's a goat face with horns. And there's a dead guy right here. Look. Down, did enlarge. Right here is a dead guy. And it says they died to make the desert bloom. Huh. Because Satan's race was going down. And so they set a snare. So there it is. There's the dead guy. Here's Baphomet. Here's wheat and weeds. And it says they died to make the desert bloom. That is at the Hoover Dam. That's the plaque at the Hoover Dam. By the way, the Hoover Dam is printed on the $50 bill. Now, just a minute. Okay, so he has him hold his hands up. Now look, he puts him down on the ground to do push-ups. Why would he do that? By the way, look at this table tennis, this unit for table tennis, this court. It's the same as the Hoover Dam. Watch. Sorry. Here we go. Okay. Look at the table that they're playing table tennis on. There it is right here. It is identical to the Hoover Dam. The floor is blue. Do you see blue floors very often? No, not really. The reason he put him on the floor like that, sorry, I keep switching that one. The reason he put him on the floor like that is to make fun of him because in the image at the Hoover Dam where the plaque is, there's a guy laying in water, which would be blue. So he made Ian mimic it. Now, if you look at the crowd, let's see if... Okay, so I want you to look at the crowd. There's 3 rows. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 3 in white, 3 in blue. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So there's 3 rows of 6. 6, 6, 6. Half white, half blue. Half with Ian's face, half with Arnold. A mighty man mixed with Ian. You see? Prepare to be crushed. A sudden death match. He's mocking him. Now watch. He missed on purpose. Now watch. Now the wall comes down. That represents the Hoover Dam busting. And then that's when the new race party begins. And then the band playing is One Republic. Now, I don't want to get a codex violation for them playing. And it says Bud Light, the perfect beer for when somehow you find yourself in a limo with Reggie Watts and some bachelorettes, then get styled by Minka Kelly before Don Cheadle, a llama named Lily. By the way, the meaning of the name Lily, it means purity because it was a sacrifice. It was a sacrifice. It says a llama named Lily and an identical twin of the girl you just met take you to a party where you defeat Arnold Schwarzenegger in a sudden death ping pong match that puts you on stage with One Republic. Really? I mean, seriously, right? It's the Garden of Eden again, folks. Exactly what I've been telling you. This is a commercial. So I'm showing you the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. Again, the tree of the knowledge of good and evil always manifests. You can tell every tree by its fruit. Look at this fruit. This is the fruit. Now I'm telling you, I'm going to do a few more of these commercials just to slam this home because it's just redundant. It's ridiculously obvious. If you can't see this and you think like, oh, this doesn't have any bearing, you are as blind as it gets. This is just absolutely in your face. I'm going to do several more of these same exact commercials, show you the same exact thing in different venues, and then I'm going to show you what happened today while looking at the Vatican. It is probably the most insane thing I've ever seen since I've been doing this. You will not believe what is at the Vatican. Now let us look at the reality that the Twin Towers were bombed on 9/11. Specifically on 9/11 as a date that was chosen for a very specific reason. The Twin Towers, which represented dual DNAs, mother and father DNA, were bombed on 9/11